Today we're taking a close look at the third quarter 2025 US GDP report and asking a simple but critical question: just how accurate is this number? This video examines what the data actually shows, what is not shown, and why the headline growth figure may be misleading. This is William Michael Cunningham of Creative Investment Research. The headline numbers sound impressive. The economy is reported to have grown at a 4.3% annualized rate in the third quarter of 2025. Corporate profits allegedly surged by $166.1 billion, compared to virtually flat growth in the second quarter of 2025. But context matters. This estimate was released under federal government shutdown conditions, which severely disrupted the data pipeline. This GDP estimate is highly unusual. A federal shutdown delayed key source data. As a result, the Bureau of Economic Analysis combined methodologies normally used for separate GDP releases. That means greater reliance on assumptions, imputations, and partial indicators, and historically, that translates into less accurate estimates and higher revision risk. One of the most important internal checks economists use is the comparison between gross domestic product or GDP and gross domestic income or GDI. In Q3 2025, GDP grew at 4.3%, but GDI grew by only 2.4%. The average of the two, often considered a more reliable signal, is closer to 3.4%. Large gaps like this frequently precede downward revisions. The reported jump in corporate profits to $166 billion from less than $7 billion in the second quarter is a major driver of the optimistic narrative. But profits are highly sensitive to timing, accrual accounting, and valuation adjustments, especially in disrupted quarters. This surge spans both financial and non-financial firms, raising questions about how much reflects real activity versus accounting effects. This isn't happening in isolation. Other macroeconomic data was compromised. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reports that the October household employment survey was not conducted at all, and that November response rates were unusually low. When multiple core data sets are disrupted, confidence in headline economic statistics must be reduced. Even if we accept the reported growth at face value, the benefits are uneven. Large corporations with pricing power, multinational firms, and export or defense-linked sectors tend to capture gains first. This type of growth does not automatically translate into broad-based economic improvement. Black and minority-owned businesses face a very different reality. They typically have limited pricing power, greater exposure to inventory pullbacks, and are more vulnerable to payment delays and margin compression. Headline GDP growth can obscure these pressures rather than relieve them. The impacts also vary by region and industry. Healthcare and professional services show some upside, particularly in major metropolitan areas. Manufacturing and wholesale sectors, especially in industrial corridors, face downside risks tied to a reduction in inventories and to tighter credit. The Bureau of Economic Analysis is expected to revise these numbers in January 2026, once more complete data becomes available. Until then, closely watch income growth, employment revisions, and inventory trends, and treat the headline GDP figures released as suggestions, not fact. Proceed with caution. The economy may be growing, but the magnitude is probably overestimated and uncertain. Data quality issues matter, especially in quarters affected by shutdowns. All firms, especially Black and minority-owned firms, should plan conservatively and avoid decisions based solely on optimistic headline numbers. For the full analysis and supporting data, visit the link shown here. If you value honest, data-driven economic analysis that focuses on real-world impacts, subscribe and stay connected. Thank you.